Hello and welcome back for another saxophone tutorial from Nottingham Music Excellence. So I'm going to give a short talk and tutorial on the first piece in the Grade 2 saxophone book for 2022 onwards. And I'm going to give a little chat about the first piece, Bourree by Handel. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for making that sound really awesome. And then on a separate video, I'm going to put the backing track for the piano part at two different tempos, two different speeds, so that you can play along with that. So do check that out as well. But here we go. Okay, so I think with all these kind of Baroque arrangements, they all need to be played with a kind of a stately grace and precision, don't they? And this is a lovely arrangement by Alan Bullard. And you'll notice at the start of the piece there is a minim tempo there, not a crotchet tempo. And I think that's a big giveaway to the feel of this piece. So really try to make it have that slightly sort of minim bounce to it, and don't get too bogged down in the individual crotchets. So I think if you think in minims, the music should automatically come out that way through the instrument and sound a lot more musical. So whereas if I think in crotchets, it automatically kind of slows me down a little bit. I don't know why, but it just does. I think the tendency will be to just let it drag a little bit if you think, certainly if you're in the early stages of playing this, there's no harm at all in learning it in crotchets. But I think when you've got the notes really good and you're trying to put this with the piano accompaniment, really start to think in minims and it will just sound so much better. And get going halfway through the piece. And going through 14 and 15, if I play that in a kind of a 4/4, you'll hear how that sounds. Whereas if I transform that again to minims and just pick up pick it up a little bit. It just sounds a little bit more jolly and just helps it to move along a little bit, I think. And let's talk about the phrasing detail. Now I think the phrasing is fairly obvious in this, and it's basically just tonguing crotchets all the way through. And even the odd little slur that you've got here and there, they're only on the pairs of quavers. So you're still, even when you're doing those slurred notes, you're actually still tonguing in crotchets. So, and then on the next bit, so you're basically tonguing in crotchets pretty much all the way through. Now I personally think it sounds better if you use a bit more what you might call a legato tonguing and still try to play the notes in fairly full length rather than playing. So I think just maximize the length of the notes a little bit and it would just sound a little bit more musical. So I think try to minimize the contact on there a little bit. Just keep the tonguing as light as you can. And of course, put some dynamic contrasts in there as well. Always get a few more marks in the exam for that. So quite light and soft, isn't it, in several places in the music. Perhaps at the halfway point there. So the sound gradually increases there. And for the ending as well, it starts, just for those last few bars, it starts piano, but then finishes with a really confident sound. So I think if you get those dynamic contrasts in there, it really does help to just sort of give a bit more musical impact with the piece. So I think that wraps up the tutorial side of things. I think that's all I'm going to say on this piece. So do check out the piano accompaniment play along video, and as I say at the start of the video, there are going to be 2 tempos for that, 2 speeds that you can play along with. Do check out that on a separate video. But that's it for this one. I'll see you on another video. Bye!